For our viewers, they almost had a near-death experience, but yeah.
Yeah, scary flying.
But I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna make episode 2 of Black and White. This sucks, you know. And that coupled with the fact that you've got a Premiership winning manager.
He's added the final product to his game in a big way, scoring goals, getting assists.
Yeah.
It's been huge for him.
People are saying, should it be recalled to Bafana? You know, that's the question right now, and I don't know.
Robert Sanchez sees red, and so does the rest of Chelsea, and a Leicester-style fairy tale on the cards in the Betway Premiership. This is Black and White Boots. Welcome to it. Brother, welcome back. Episode 2.
Thank you. I thought I was not gonna make it back with my ordeal. Yeah, no, maybe just to for our viewers, they almost had a near-death experience, but yeah.
Yeah, scary flying.
But I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna make episode 2 of Black and White. This sucks, you know. And then yeah, we were safe, thank God. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I was glad to hear.
Yeah,
I mean, you told me after you landed, you were like,
Yeah.
that was the sketchiest flight landing I've ever had in my life.
Crazy, bro. Like I was like, when everything was happening, like you start going through all the emotions, and you know, and I was like, actually, this is the worst I've ever experienced, you know, in anything. You know, I'm like, I've been hijacked, I've been pointed a gun at, but it never felt like this. It always felt like I had a chance, but this was like, you know what? This is it, bro.
You're out.
You're going
You're
out
done.
in the air. But hey, I'm back. And
You're here.
you know.
It's coming back to the football.
Yeah.
It's been a hell of a weekend. We had some CAF Champions League games. We had some Betway Premiership action. We've had a lot of Premier League action. But the big news from this week, generally in the world of football, I've been very vocal about not caring about it.
No, you and I both, but yeah.
Ballon d'Or, Monday night. Ousmane Dembele.
No.
Well deserved.
Well deserved. I think he had a stellar of a season, you know, and without doubt, I think to a degree he carried PSG. Look, I mean, they're playing as a collective, but just when he came on, even in the final, I think, was it the final where he started from the bench?
Yeah.
There was a game where he started
from the bench.
Yeah, I think, but I stand to be corrected. But, you know, when he came on, you could just see that, you know what, this guy is really, really playing his best football. And you can tell with his demeanor right now that he is in a right space of mind. You know, he's got a very good head above his shoulder. You know, I mean, you can hear from his speech that, you know, he learns a lot from other people as well, and he's proud to say those things. You know, that's the making of a very, very great player, and I think he might just surprise us and grab another one if he continues in that trajectory.
Yeah, I think he must be delighted that he got that PSG move, because it wasn't working for him at Barcelona. He looked a great player at Dortmund. Then he got that move to Barcelona and it didn't happen for him.
Yeah.
And the move to PSG, he's elevated his game so much. And I think everyone knew he had so much talent. He had that pace, he has skill, he's difficult to deal with. Yeah. But he's added the final product to his game in a big way, scoring goals, getting assists.
Yeah.
It's been huge for him.
France
in general, really well represented in the top performers of the Ballon d'Or. And it reminds me of when Spain had a contingent of players that dominated the Ballon d'Or list, when it was Xavi, Iniesta, David Villa, Torre, whatever. You know, like that, the Ballon d'Or list was a lot of Spanish players. Sergio Ramos every year, there, Puyol there, every year. And it was largely represented by Barcelona getting Club of the Year all the time. Now you see Luis Enrique, Manager of the Year. You see PSG, Club of the Year. And you see Ousmane Dembele, Player of the Year. And then you've got the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Desiree Doué, etc., and more French stars inside that Ballon d'Or top 30 list. And I think the only national side rather that was comparable in a way is Portugal with Vitinha, Nuno Mendes, and João Neves. Also all PSG contingent. But I think it bodes really well for France in terms of their ambitions coming up into a World Cup year.
No, definitely. I think they're in a very, very good position.
They're in a great position. They're in a great position. I think there's 2 Argentine players, Lautaro Martinez, in the list. I think around the 16th position, higher up there. And was it Alex McAllister? That's it. So those are the 2 Argentines on the list. And I think it's just very interesting to see how strong in terms of individual skill capabilities, the ability of individual players is in that French national side. And with PSG doing so well as well, I think it bodes really well for France football. So that's my take from Ballon d'Or. Also, we glazing over the whole event. I think it was great to see so much representation for women as well in the Ballon d'Or, with an actual equal spread. Women's Club of the Year along with Club of the Year, Women's Goalkeeper of the Year along with Goalkeeper of the Year, etc., etc., etc. So I think it's really, really good to see. Good for the women's game. I hope it continues to grow in this way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we want the women's football to grow and to see that. I always say, I was saying to my wife, she was asking me, what are these awards? And I was saying to her, these are like the Oscars of football, you know, and to see women representation at that level, it just goes to show you that people who are involved in football administrations are actually putting in effort to uplift the game, the football a game of women, you know. So it was great. I think overall, I think it was a it's always a spectacle, you know. Ballon d'Or, it's always the glitz and glamour, you know, the light, you know, what you call the red carpet and whatnot. So it was good, but overall, I think it was okay. Though I still have my reservations about the entire processes and all of that. I think it's a story for another day.
Yeah, and I know that the comments are going to come for me and be like, yeah, France represented well in the Ballon d'Or, or the France Football Ballon d'Or. It's a French award. It's an award rewarded by France football.
But that wouldn't be fair, because if that was the case, I mean, I think they would have sort of like pushed Kylian Mbappe to get one. He hasn't gotten one yet. Yeah, you know. So I think from that perspective, I think it wouldn't be fair. You know, I think they're balanced. I mean, how long did Messi and Ronaldo dominated those? And
when FIFA was still involved in the award, for sure, I think it had more credibility back then. Anyway, but yeah, interesting to see when we see FIFA's Golden Ball Awards, which is their own separate ceremony from a global perspective. Okay, moving on from there. Betway Premiership.
Yeah.
Lali?
Yeah, man.
Fairytale on the cards.
I think so, man. I'm afraid I'm starting to believe, because it does look like Sekhukhune are just getting it right. Hey, I mean, in that game, they were struggling, you know, to just get into the groove, to just get that goal, and to score in the last minute. And you know, Marco, what that does to players when you score in the last minute. You know, it just increases your belief that it's not over until it's over. And once players get in that frame of mind, I think the sky's the limit. I'm afraid I think Sekhukhune might just pull a Leicester on us, eh?
I would love to see it.
Yeah, no.
Maybe because I'm a Chiefs fan. Like, if you're a Sundowns fan, maybe you wouldn't say I'd love to see it, because you're expecting Sundowns to go on and win another season. But again, and I think anyone who's a fan of any team other than Sundowns in the league will be backing Sekhukhune as like just anyone but Sundowns.
But on the contrary, I would think Sundowns fans, they'll rather see a Sekhukhune
than a Pirates or a
Chiefs.
That's also true.
Yeah. Right. So
yeah.
I think Sekhukhune, and also they've got talent, you know, that knows how to win games. You know, they've got all these that many call them surplus to requirements. Your Munares surplus to other teams. Your Munare or Ntambo is injured. Once he comes back to the team, he's also going to strengthen them, you know, your Cardasos, your team, you know. And let's not forget to mention the guy that is like scoring like it's getting out of fashion, you know, Bradley
Krobler, yeah.
you know.
I mean, we were speaking about this earlier and talking about how it's hard to come across stats in South African football. But surely this is his best start to a season. This is his best return at the start of a season.
Yeah, no, definitely.
5 goals in. Top
Assist
of the,
there.
he's currently Golden Boot, on top of the Golden Boot run. There's normally 4 or 5 Sundowns players ahead of everybody else, but he's there. He's up there, 5 goals in 7 games.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous return, and he's on fire.
He's on fire. And when I look at his physique and the way that he links up play and do all of those things, I ask myself, is this guy really 36? Because it's like he's aging backwards, you know. I don't know, man. Like that guy it's just like playing his best football right now. And I don't know if I should bring this up, but people are saying, should he be recalled to Bafana? You know, that's the question right now. And I don't know.
So we know that based on the evidence, Hugo Bruce likes a number 9 who can hold up play.
Of course, yeah.
Currently now, Bradley Grobler is a number 9 who's got a lot of experience holding up play. His time at SuperSport United was full of it. Gavin Hunt liked a similar system where he would like to have that option to play a long ball to a number 9, allow the rest of the team to step up at the pitch and build from further up front. It's a tremendous option to have. You know, if you don't have a supremely dominant football team, I think it's great to have that option. But currently, he looks like that option without compromise. He's that option, good at holding up play, but he's scoring goals.
Yeah, and assisting as well.
Yeah. So there's no downside to a Bradley Grobler right now. And could we see him in that Bafana side again? I think it's, if this continues,
it's going to make it hard for Hugo Bruce not to pick him.
I don't believe he's in the list for the upcoming qualifiers.
The preliminary.
The preliminary list.
Yeah, it's not.
But that list could change. And it would be, if this continues, surely we're expecting it to.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Because at the end of the day, we've got a tournament coming up now in December, the AFCON, you know, and do you really want to leave somebody who's in that form going to a tournament like that? I don't know. But I think there are a few other contenders for that position. Reyners is doing well. Mabasa is doing well. Well, Mahopa is trusted by Hugo. But you ask yourself, I mean, if the man is scoring goals, never mind his age, if he's scoring goals and he's playing like he's in his 20s, I think he's raising his hands up very high, and it's going to be difficult for Hugo to ignore him should he continue in this kind of form.
And that experience bodes well for others coming up in the squad as well. You can,
definitely.
You
want to have a balanced
experience.
squad. Yeah, you want to have a balanced squad.
So him coming from SuperSport United, and another of the casualties for the sale of the club is Gavin Hunt.
Yeah,
Durban City flying.
They are actually, hey. And I did mention that Durban City are going to be a problem. And I was saying when I was watching that game that actually Durban City actually almost got Sundowns, you know, just that obviously they missed the penalty, and from there on, Sundowns, if you miss your chances, they'll punish you. They'll bury you. And when they do that, they are unforgiving, you know. And but beside that, where they are right now compared to other teams, you know, who compared to the other team that was just promoted, it's like chalk and see, it's day and night, you know. I mean, Orbit is down there and they're up there. Again, also the what you call the administration of the team. I mean, I think it's Frank Kadodi, I think the owner of Durban City. I think I got the name right. His experience, I mean, that's Maritzburg City basically, you know. And that coupled with the fact that you've got a Premiership winning manager, you know, and I don't think he's a guy that he's shy of spending. I mean, that's why Gavin Hunt was looking at few players like Lipasas from Orlando Pirates to try and bring him over. And you know, I think they want to. I think their target's probably top 8. And if you look at where they are right now, I don't think it's too much to ask, you know. And looking at where they are compared to their counterparts that they were promoted with, I think they're doing pretty well, and I think they might just make that top 8.
So let's move on from Betway Premiership. It's very early stages of the Betway Premiership.
Definitely, yeah.
CAF. Orlando Pirates. Going on. Thumping victory.
Yeah.
Could have been more than 3.
Yeah, definitely. It could have been more than 3. And what I like about the approach of Coach Wadu in that game is versus like your Ribeiro in his first season, is that Coach Wadu went on and said, you know what, I'm going to put my best foot forward and put your first 11 that is trusted, that has been giving you results. And then they went and thumped that, is it Lioli? I think I got it right, from Lesotho. As compared to Rivera, I think you will remember in his first season against Jwaneng FC of Botswana, he went on and put a starting 11 that was not a regular, that was full of non-regulars, in terms of starting, right? And that's how they got knocked out. But obviously in the second season, he had learned his lesson. So usually first, coaches usually tend to underestimate the opponents because it's preliminary. They're from maybe in inverted commas lower leagues, but Coach Watt was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put my best 11, and he did that. And look at where they are. I mean, the return leg will just be Lioli just honoring the fixture. I don't think they can turn around a 3-0 deficit against formidable Orlando Pirates.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Come on.
It's Pirates we're talking about, yeah.
It's nice to see them playing with confidence. Not been the best start to a season they've ever had. They've got games in hand, of course. So let's see. It's early days, but they had a good campaign in the Champions League last season. They've shown that they're one of the premier sides in African football. Not just one of the biggest names, not just one of the biggest clubs, but a premier side in terms of performance. And, we have to see how, if hopefully the Southern Hemisphere can do one over on the clubs from the north of Africa.
I'm hoping so, and excuse me, if you look at Orlando Pirates, the way they've been playing and how far they went in the previous season, and Mamelodi Sundowns, I think there's still a chance, and also Pirates have beefed up. I mean, you mentioned that they didn't have the greatest of starts, and I think it was one of those things where a manager was experiencing, or not, let me not say experiencing, he got into the club, he wanted to have his own starting 11, and he sort of like, for lack of a better word, ignored what was being done in previous season. Like you mentioned, they had a good season last season, and then he started playing with new guys. And Orlando Pirates is also heavy, and those guys were not really getting it, and he reverted back to the older guys who are more experienced within the club, and then he started getting results and slowly started integrating the new signings, and that pairing of new signings and the older guys is now giving him results, which is what he was supposed to have done in the beginning. And I think he learned that very quickly, hence we're seeing that he changed, and we are seeing this Orlando Pirates that we're seeing right now that is just winning games week in, week out.
It's going to be an interesting CAF campaign. Let's move along now. This is Tacticos. Let's have a look at verticality. Verticality is a philosophy or principle in football that prioritizes progressive, effective passing to get from back to front of the pitch as quickly and efficiently as possible. So this is a philosophy that is perhaps opposed to the tiki-taka style, which mostly is determined by grinding down a defensive team by moving the ball, shifting it left to right, quickly in between feet in order to create goal-scoring opportunities. Whereas verticality is perhaps more transition-based. It's a philosophy that allows goal-scoring opportunities to come very quickly when the first progressive pass from defense is made. Let's have a look at it from a systems standpoint. Managers who are looking to adapt a system with high verticality is a progressive style that in many instances will require an overload in midfield. This doesn't mean that they'll completely compromise width, but there is a likelihood that you'll be playing two centre forwards in order to be most effective in quickly and efficiently playing progressive balls. So there may be a compromise in terms of width, where there should be an understanding of fullbacks to be providing that width, whereas you will be looking at overloading a midfield. The formation I have up here is a 4-2-2-2, which allows for players to be playing in between defensive lines. This is a great progressive system with two number 10s behind two centre forwards, two number 9s, who are looking to pick up balls from deep in very dangerous positions in between the midfield line and the defensive line. And with two number 10s in that role, it becomes very difficult, for example, for a single pivot to be able to deal with those two players, or even with two double pivot in a 4-2-3-1, for example, that frees up space for another midfielder to be looking to make progressive passes deeper to break the defensive lines for one of those two centre forwards. So these are some of the key principles to verticality. It's direct forward passes, so very few passes between the back lines. Sideways passes, backwards passes are opposed to the verticality system or the principle of verticality. So once again, a fundamental of the system in terms of your playing staff, their abilities, is to be effective progressive ball passes all the way through the defensive line, and the midfielders in particular need to be able to find progressive passes with ease. Another fundamental of the system, and absolutely critical to making it work, is intelligent movement. Now, the intelligent movement is obviously quite important for players who are looking to receive the ball, but in a verticality system, the intelligent movement is going to be there to draw other players to create that space for those progressive passes. If you've got a player drawing over there and a centre back who's able to find progressive passes, you've got two number 10s who are looking to receive the ball, creating very dangerous opportunities, particularly in transition. So quick transitions, another fundamental principle for a successful team of verticality as a philosophy. So just a quick look at verticality in football. Let us know more of your thoughts in the comments below. Who should be adapting verticality in football? It's sort of opposed to the progressive or possession-based systems in the modern game, but it's a very effective way of breaking down a high press and being very dangerous in transition. Let us know your thoughts. Yeah, verticality. It's I'm going to perhaps get criticized for speaking so out loud about verticality as if it's a positive. Because it's maybe more a decision for teams who want to play on transition or counter attack, which is normally reserved for teams lower in the league positions rather than
Sam Allardyce come to mind.
Yeah, I mean, very direct Sam Allardyce just pumping the long ball up forward, but maybe like the Brentfords, Bournemouths and Brightons of the world, rather than a Pep Guardiola side that's used to keeping possession. Let's move over to the Premier League now.
Yeah.
The highlight game of the weekend, the blockbuster, Arsenal versus Manchester City, fell dead asleep.
Bro, the first half was horrible in a sense that even Manchester City couldn't even hold possession. Those teams were cancelling each other.
Completely. And tactically too.
Yeah.
It was a decision to cancel each other out.
It's crazy. And how negative was that approach from Arsenal, you know?
Yeah.
You're going to a game of this magnitude against a Manchester City who we can all agree that is not firing in all cylinders. And you've got Eze on the bench and Saka. How do you approach it? Do you think Arteta looked at that game and sort of prepared to play a Manchester City that was going to come and dominate him?
Yeah, I think he paid too much respect to his old boss Pep, to his old mentor, you know, in a way. But in the same breath, Manchester City are coming off the back of a 3-0 derby win. they have Haaland, who's had his worst start to a Premier League season, 6 goals in 5 games, his worst start to a Premier League season. They're firing as well. I mean, again, like you say, it's not necessarily the best Man City side, but the talent they've got in that side, the quality of players they've got in that side, Manchester City are also guilty of not going out there and trying to dominate. So it's very interesting to have seen such a negative approach when you've got that much quality from both teams. And I think that it's a stark contrast to Liverpool, who have so much self-belief that they are the best team in England. That no matter who they're going to come across, they will play their way with belief and authority. And I think it was just interesting to see the mentality, the lack of authority and belief in the team that you've got.
I think for Manchester City, right, and this is just my personal view from what I see. First and foremost, Pep went into that game with the same lineup that has been playing the past 2 games. There's a lot of injuries, and also I don't think he believes that the current squad that he has is at a level to execute his traditional style of play. So I think he went in that game knowing exactly that, my guys are not going to give me what I want. Especially if you look at your Rodri, yes, he's back, but he's not where he was before. Phil Foden is still trying to get his way back in. Dogu, he's playing well. I think he's the only player that we can really say that he was exceptional, out of the whole team, And you look at the new guys, they're not really getting it. I mean, I think Pep approached that game knowing that, I'm not gonna dominate Arsenal, and I will just have to do what will shock everybody and just be defensive. Because at some point he has, I think, about 4 DMs. He went, is it Reinders from number 4? He had Rodri. At some point, he had Nicolas. Is it Nicolas? It's Nico Gonzalez, yes. And he also had Stones. And then immediately when what's his name, Saka got in and changed the game, he put in what's his name, Ake. So he was playing the back 5. So it just goes to show you that I think he went into that game knowing that, I don't think I will dominate this match, but I need results, which now begs my question. Is this normal for Pep, or he's starting to realize that sometimes you just have to do what you have to do to just get results?
It would be a very different story that we're telling had they got the 3 points with a 1-0 win and they just managed to grind it out. We'd be calling him, all the best things we spoke about Jose Mourinho. We could say, well, Pep can do it all.
Yeah.
Based on this evidence, okay, maybe not quite really.
Yeah.
Is a draw the worst result for City? Away to Arsenal?
To a team that beat you 5-1?
Maybe not the worst result for City, but the big winner from that game was Liverpool.
Of course,
Liverpool's the big winner from that game. It's the two
potential threats cancelled each other.
Yeah, the 2 potential threats to their defense of the crown cancel each other out, dropping 2 points for both of them.
Yeah.
Good news for us, we won a Merseyside derby.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's so interesting that Liverpool were dominating games last season, and we spoke last week about mentality. Once again, winning by a goal.
Yeah.
Winning by a solitary goal, not going out and dominating a football match. Yes, it's a Merseyside derby.
Which they dominated over the years,
They've dominated over the years, but a derby's a derby.
No, yeah.
So to just get 3 points is getting 3 points on the board. And they look like they're going to run away with this league again.
I think so, man. Stand. They just, Liverpool, I've watched not all of their games, but the ones that I've watched, they're not really playing enterprising football. But what they're doing is they're just grinding out results, And I always say those are the signs of champions, when you are playing your worst footballs and still get away with results, you are in line to greatness. And I think this Liverpool side are going to be a problem again this season, and they might just defend it. Because in as much as they are not playing good football, imagine when, because eventually they're gonna click. Eventually, when that Liverpool team just clicks and then just start to playing their rock and roll. Well, it's a light rock and roll with what's his name? Slot. It's not the same as
it's not heavy metal.
It's not heavy metal as like clubs, you know. But imagine when they just click and then they start to play the way they were playing last season. You know, I think they're gonna run away with it.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see. I think Hugo Ekitike was delighted with his move to Liverpool at the time, especially because it was like, am I going to go to Newcastle? Okay, Newcastle get outbid and outgunned for Ekitike, so I'm going to be Liverpool's main man because obviously the other deal's off the table. And then, Liverpool decide to do that deal as well. I think Ekitike might have been a little bit afraid where it's like, why did I come here? Did I come here to be backup? And he's taken it in his stride and he's been like, you know what? I'm going to make sure I keep my spot.
I just have to go and play good football and score goals.
That's it.
And it's gonna. I think he's putting Slot in a very, very difficult position, and at some point he's gonna have to decide. You know, what do you need to do? You have to play with both of them at the same time, because that boy is scoring and Isak is tested. You've paid so much for this guy and he's on the bench.
I think it's interesting because Isak, we have seen him play from the left before. So that might be dangerous to see Isak from the left and Ekitike through the middle, Saka on the right, supported by Wirtz.
Salah on the right.
Salah on the right.
Yes.
And supported by Wirtz at number 10. It could be a very dangerous attack. So Liverpool might just run away with it.
No, definitely.
So they're a good side. They've got probably the best centre-back in world football. They would have loved to get Mark Gahey in as well to partner with Virgil van Dijk.
Just to stabilise that defence.
Yeah, because I think if you're going to pick a weak
side, that's their weak department.
There's one weak position in that whole squad because Alex McAllister next to Ryan Gravenberch in as that double pivot. Pick two better players in that position right now. They're hard to do. They've strengthened in the fullback positions. Okay, yes, there's an injury to Frimpong now, but they've replaced the traditional Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andy Robertson conundrum. They performed great for Liverpool over the years, yes, but now it's like, okay, new generation in those fullback positions. And then they've got one of the best goalkeepers in the world in Alisson as well. I mean, he was nominated again for Ballon d'Or. Well, not for Ballon d'Or, but for the Yashin trophy. And, if there's anyone in the squad that you're going to look at and be like, that's the position, it'll be Konate, who's maybe vulnerable to a position change. And surely they're going to go in for Mark Gahey for free now in next summer and strengthen there. But they've got enough to get through this season, surely.
Yeah, and sometimes your best form of defense is attack. And they're littered with attackers, you know. So
they are.
I don't see that being much of a problem or something that can hinder their chances of defending that championship. I don't think so.
Yeah, so far they still going to be favourites to go on.
Definitely.
The trophy.
With the way City is playing Arsenal and Chelsea, I don't think there's much competition, to be quite honest with you right now.
Everyone buzzing about Manchester United versus Chelsea, another big fixture, less context to the top of the table than what a Manchester City Arsenal game was. But it was a big fixture. Boy, oh boy, the rain was pouring down. And I thought the goals were going to pour in. I thought Manchester, once you get that red card on Sanchez, Enzo Maresca, credit to him, brave, to be like, cool, this is the position we're in now. We got the red card. I'm going to change it up completely. Credit to him for doing that. It didn't really pay off.
It did not.
Because had Casemiro not seen red as well in that game, I wonder if Man United would have gone on and thumped Chelsea. And I think there's a lot of Man United fans, even within the club, the feeling's pretty good. You know, they're really happy to have beaten Chelsea. Tough conditions, raining hard, Old Trafford buzzing just to get the 3 points, etc. But they were in danger of losing that winning position near the end of the game with a slender 2-1 lead and then having to, grit their teeth and bear the push by Chelsea. Go on and get the 3 points. you know, when will a Man United fan be happy, I suppose? But I think Man United needed a good, solid win with a few goals, because my biggest concern from that win, and don't get me wrong, I'm happy with the win. My biggest concern with that win is where the goals came from. You only won 2-1. You only scored 2 goals. You a red card in the first 5 minutes. Could have gone on and scored a bunch. The goal scorers, Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro. Again, the same guys who are popping in with goals. You need those forward players to be scoring goals. I understand Cunha's just come back. It's good to see him back there. Hopefully, for Manchester United, that Ruben Amorim's got the squad that he wants to select in place there. I just really hope, and I think there's a lot of Man United fans out there, really hope he's brave enough to pair Mainu and Bruno Fernandes at least against some of the smaller sides. You know, instead of having to always go Casemiro Fernandes, Ugarte Fernandes. You know, if you can get Sesko, Mbeumo, Cunha up front, and then Mainu supporting them, and Bruno Fernandes also there. It's a very attacking lineup. I think Mainu's got the legs. He'll get up and down and do the work.
Definitely, I agree with you. And I think the pairing now with Casemiro suspended. Well, he always gets suspended or get injured. You pick one.
Pick one.
I think now with this injury, it gives an opportunity for Amorim to start with Mainu, because I've seen a lot of like United fans and people that I speak to, including yourself. You know, you want to see Mainu playing games. You know, and he's a great talent. You know, I mean, I think maybe pairing him with Ugarte and pushing Bruno Fernandes a bit forward, it might be
then when you don't have Cunha and Mbeumo available, because that's clearly going to be Man United's best solution.
You know what I mean?
And you want Sesko to start games. He's a big boy. He did some good things in the game. I'm sure it would have been great for him to stay on for longer as well. And get an opportunity. But I think if just to have seen that red card in the first 5 minutes, you were hoping that Mbeumo gets a goal, Sesko gets a goal, everyone gets some confidence behind them, and to have, if you go on and thump Chelsea in that game, the sky's the limit for the team's confidence.
I was about to say that.
And there's quality in that side, and if those players are confident, Højlund scoring goals for free in Naples, Onana doing quite well in Turkey. You know, these Man United players go elsewhere and do very well. I think it's just if they can get confident, this Man United side, they can go on and do good things. I'm not gonna, reach for the stars and say they can go compete for titles and go necessarily like bully their way into top 4. But who's to say a confident Man United side can't push and compete for that top 4 place?
Look, I think they have the talent, I think it's just a matter of belief right now. And a game like Chelsea, like you were saying, they took advantage of the fact that Chelsea it's short of a man and just bulldozed their way in there and win with like a good margin. It would have gone a long way in terms of confidence, But again, Chelsea they tried to hold their own, and there was a point where I think there was just a goal away from equalizing, and big up to Maresca, and I think for me, my biggest disappointment was the Chelsea goalkeeper, Sanchez. Why was he out so, like, you 5 minutes into the game, yes, there is danger, but you are more likely to win a game when you went 1-0 down, in the first half, than winning,
to go down a player.
It's difficult. I think Chelsea's got a problem in that goalkeeping department as well, eh?
Absolutely, and with a straight red card like that, your number one goalkeeper is now out for the fixtures coming up. Looking at the rest of the fixture list, one thing that's standing out to me, and it's something we touched on about all the newly promoted sides going down. Currently, the bottom 3 of the Premier League, Wolves, West Ham and Aston Villa. West Ham already, bunch of rumours that the manager's going to get sacked and that they're going to go on to maybe Nuno. But what I really want to get to is, besides Aston Villa's struggles, besides Wolves' struggles, besides the struggles of West Ham, is like I said, those newly promoted sides. Burnley is the lowest placed, and they're ahead of those teams. They're even ahead of Brentford, who are struggling without Thomas Frank, it seems, at the beginning of the season. And Sunderland are up in 7th, Leeds up in 11th. They're knocking on the door of the top 10 as things stand. Really good to see the newly promoted sides getting some points on the board. And as we know, every season, around the 36-point mark,
you're safe. Yeah.
So to have Sunderland on 8 points on the board already, with a long season still to go, you know, it would be nice to see the Black Cats stick around for another season and establish themselves as a Premier League side again.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm looking at it, I mean, West Ham are in trouble, eh?
West Ham are in trouble. And Graham Potter, since he's left Brighton, his CV can't be looking too handsome anymore. He might have to go down to lower leagues and build his reputation again.
Get a lower league side promoted once more. And
because, I mean, he was being mentioned for the England job ahead of Thomas Tuchel.
Imagine that, eh?
Imagine that. So the way things are looking now, if he gets the sack early now from West Ham, I don't know which Premier League club would look to take him on. You know, it would be a risk.
You know who I'm not wishing any good on? It's Forest.
The way they've gone about things.
Yeah, look, I mean, you don't treat Nuno like that, man.
No, it's not fair.
He's such a gem, that man, and you could, like, we don't know him personally, obviously, but you can tell that Nuno is a good manager. He's a good person, you know.
And the results have been fantastic.
Beside other things, yeah.
I mean, since Wolves got rid of him, they've not looked the same. Well, so I think that Nuno, he didn't even do a bad job at Spurs, where he didn't stick around for very long.
They gave Ange more leeway than they did with
Nuno.
With Nuno, and I think if they'd done the same with Nuno, I think they would have been in way better position.
Yeah, it's in terms of the league for sure. Yeah. But look, I guess Spurs fans can't be too upset that they're stuck with Ange. They got a trophy and they're still in the Premier League and they're in the Champions League. So
something like that.
What would you rather have, finish at the bottom of the Premier League table without getting relegated?
And
without a trophy. Yeah, you get a trophy and you're in the Champions League anyway.
Yeah.
So like finishing 4th and no trophy is, I suppose, worse in a way. And right now, Thomas Frank showing his credentials. Boy, oh boy, he's got Spurs flying. But I just wanted to really focus on the newly promoted sides performing well. And if all 3 of them survive, that would be incredible.
That would be incredible to see, you know. I think Sunderland and Leeds, Leeds is now on 7 points. Sunderland is on 8. I mean, you have to put your best foot forward. You know, starting the league better, it just gives you a chance, because the second half of the league, everybody's scraping for points. You know, some wants to be in top 6, some are fighting relegation. You know, you want to accumulate as much points as you can in the first half of the season.
And Sunderland bolstered their squad with a big number of players before the season started, which is difficult to get a team playing well, right? But you want big numbers in the Premier League, because when the games come thick and fast, you want a deep squad.
You want a deep squad, yeah.
I think, you know, as things stand, it just only looks good for Sunderland. Some points on the board now early on, some confidence, playing good football. And then come the second half of the season, where newly promoted clubs tend to struggle a bit more.
Yeah, fatigue.
You guys have a deep squad.
Yeah.
You've spent the money, you've bought a lot of players, and hopefully they stay up.
Yeah.
You know? And we'll see where it goes from there.
And Villa, before you move on, Villa, I mean, they're sitting now on 18th and only on 3 points. I mean, who's having a worse season here? Is it Unai or Amorim?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, Amorim's been given a lot of money to spend, so that'll be the criticism to him, is that he can't do it with all the money. But Unai Emery has been hailed as the best manager in the league, season in, season out. You know, he's doing great things with teams that don't have the budgets, etc., etc. It's not looking so good for him right now.
No, not at all. Not at all. But
expect them to bounce back. You know.
Obviously still early season, but early in the season, but 5 games in, and out of potential you only have 3 points. You know, out of potential out of 15.
Sure,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah,
calling knockout.
Yes, man.
The draw is out.
The draw is out.
Who's playing who? What's going on?
So Amazulu are going to take on Magezi. Stellenbosch are going to play against Kaizer Chiefs, which I think Chiefs usually don't have a problem with Stellenbosch. I mean, we've seen them beating them now in the beginning of the league, you know. Durban City is going to play Polokwane. Orlando Pirates is going to play Siwelele. It's not, well, they're new, but it's like playing Super Sports, you know. Mamelodi Sundowns are going to play Gallants. And Orbit College are going to play TX Galaxy, and then Richards Bay are going to play Chipa United, and Lamontville Golden Arrows are going to play Sekhukhune. And
that should be a good game.
Yeah, that will be a game, because even Mangoba there by Golden Arrows is really doing well, and Sekhukhune are high flyers right now in the league. So that one is going to be interesting for me. Fixes that are going to be interesting is that one, and also the Chiefs and Stellenbosch game, simply because Stellies have been doing well in the league, and they just lost to Pirates in the MTN 8 final, and they might want to redeem themselves against the Chiefs now that has been a little bit shaky, you know, that Chiefs is not really now stable, you know. I mean, 2 games in a row, you know, they've lost, you know. So
and Stellies didn't do too bad in calling knockout last season, did they?
Didn't do too bad, yeah. You know, and also I'm interested to see how Pirates are gonna do in this cup competition, because it's one that always eludes them. You know, so it would be interesting to see how far they can go, if they can actually go all the way and win it. So let's see. Let us know what you think. Who's gonna be in the top? Who's gonna make it to the last 8 in this cup competition in the comments there?
Yeah, put it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Marco Martins.
I'm Mulalo Musuphi.
And this is Black and White Boots. See you next week.
Tango.